My mic was muted. Give me just a second. I'm getting it all shared and set up and all that. Let me try this again. Nope, I hate that. Never updates my title, right? Why do they make this so difficult? Hold on, give me a second. I'm gonna restart. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now it's doing what I wanted. Okay, I think everything's good. There we go. All right, back to what I was doing. Think I got everything? Smoo, if you're still here, what's going on? Let me look at my list. Oh, I'm almost through my list. That might mean some Ghost of Tsushima at some point tonight. So right now, a little bit earlier, I was working on testing out some new icons. I'm just hooking them up. We have these ritual sites in our map that you can do like you meditate at, and it can buff the friendly team or curse the enemy team. They are pretty cool. Okay, I think I got all the maps. Yeah. Let's make sure these all work. Ooh, yeah, I remember what I was going to look into now. Okay, that looks good. Okay, it's all working good. Wanted to... So on our HUD we have the flowers that kind of come back in a circular fashion, and I want to see if I can rework that and have kind of petals, instead of having just like a progress bar, have more of a circular thing. If not, I'll just do like a circular border that fills up, but I never did the original one, so I'm not actually sure how to do it, but I'm gonna take a peek-see. See if I can figure it out. So we have the key flower. Okay, so it's like hard-coded. I probably won't be able to do anything then. No. So hold on a second, is there even... Okay, so there's no like exposed splines. I actually don't think I can do what I was thinking. However, name, what's going on? So that idea is probably not gonna work. Let's see. idea number 2. I do think it would be really cool though. So what we're planning on doing, tomorrow we're going to test this new icon. This is the blessing icon. The Tomoe will get replaced by whatever the buff is. So if it's like a speed buff, there'll be like a little boot in it. If it's like a defense buff, there'll be like a shield in it. And it'll kind of depend. So as a player, you know exactly what's going on. And then when we do the curse icon, we'll do something similar. So what was I doing? I'm going to be bouncing around between lots of different things because I'm getting messages on the side from the rest of the dev team or other devs like, hey, can you try this out really quick, see if this works? So something that we worked on earlier was in our HUD code, and I never knew that that's why. Okay, so it was actually, it's not a pure function anymore. So my blueprint is real sloppy. So this actually should work now, and if it does, then my cool new other thing should work now too, which is basically, if you've played the game before, let me show you what it looks like. I'll just do 2 guys. So I can do a Yamai. Did I turn? Yeah, dedicated's back on. Okay. Spawn a Hanako dude and a Yamai character. So my debug text should show a living player on each once we spawn. And so I'm gonna suicide a bunch of times just to see if when it actually, it might wait until you're in the thing. So our ticket counter before would show you friendly and enemy, but it wouldn't really show you like what clan you're on. So I added a clan symbol this week. And then when this mode's basically a ticket-based team deathmatch, and when your tickets hit 0, you go into basically like team battle royale, like it goes into sudden death mode. And I'm testing switching the ticket counter dynamically into a player's remaining counter. So when you see the Hanako living, Yamai living in the top left, that's like a developer debug message that tells me the values so I can see if it's working. This is something that I had done a while back that actually broke, and I took it out because it was causing issues in the build. Oh, that's weird. snip that for a programmer that's working on this feature with me. Yeah, they could go under. Or they could go to the left, either one. I wonder why that number is counting up. That's really weird. So if I go to client 1, BP HUD. Yeah, why is that counting up? Okay, well, I can hook this up anyway for when it does get fixed, and then it should just work once I get a code update. I'll go ahead and get this hooked. Oh yeah, I can test to see if that works too. Let me see what happens on a non-dedicated server just to see. Let me see, what am I doing? Let's open up the ticket counter. Okay, so that can go under the numbers, which makes the numbers like this. The background's supposed to kind of fill. Yeah, I think side's better. Let me do this. I'm gonna wrap this in a horizontal box and then when that's collapsed. Actually, what the hell? That's kind of weird. Oh, there we go. Okay, same thing over here. I'll just type tickets in here so I can see. What's going on? Ooh, I actually like that better. can do like a bottom pad of like 10. Bottom pad of like 10, and then let's see when players remaining turns back on. Yeah, I'm okay with this. Just working on the game. Thankfully, this UI editor's well, we're already like this version of the game 7 years in, 10 total, going back to when it was a college project. Oh yeah, Name, are you still here? I gotta show you something crazy in a second after I test this. Oh yeah, that is better. I could use a version of the clan symbols that have like a stroke, because like the Hanako symbol on the orange background is terrible, but actually I'm gonna do let's change the opacity. I don't even know. We do. Yeah, I like side better. This is the college version of Hanako from 2009, maybe? 2010? Oh man, this was like our final senior project build. Oh, it's so, oh man, the UI in UDK was so hard to make. Let's go to this. I don't actually even want bots, I just want to start. Oh man, I looked at this the other night and oh my god. The original, so this is the original Hanako castle. Down here was supposed to be like a vista of the Hanako village. Oh my god. We did have multiple weapons back then. Look at our animations. We're looking at the very first version of Hanako from well, not really the first, but it was the last college version of Hanako. We had like I'm like flinging the mouse to do these attacks. This was like my senior map. Like I spent a long time on this map. I kind of did like a Japanese castle complex instead, You could open and close doors with the E key. This was the like assassination mode too. So like the VIPs were kind of like opening and closing doors to run around and like kind of hide. They're like there's like these secret exits. It was rough. I didn't work on this map at all. This is a guy that was on our team that doesn't work on the game anymore. But this was the original Yamai Village map. I'm playing the ninja class. They didn't have grappling yet. They just used oh man, the amount of time. Now there is one map that this was Connor's like senior map because at the time we were all artists, so we kind of all like owned our own map. Um, this map was everyone's favorite map, and I actually planned to recreate it privately, secretly, without Connor knowing, and reintroduce it to the game. This was like off the campaign. This was like Kage versus Daimyo, like VIP map. And you know, there's a lot of art that's similar to what the Yamai art is, so I actually can make this map pretty easily. But it was like this multi-tiered um, little forest village that you're trying to work your way up to this pagoda, and the Kage would spawn up there, and there was kind of like all this forest stuff, little forest houses to go into and stuff. We still had meditation and everything. But yeah, college Hanako, dear God, the scoreboard. We did not have tools to make UI back then, really. The Unreal 3 one was so bad. Um, I'm gonna keep working, but I'm gonna turn off my camera and mute my microphone for a little bit. I gotta do something. One of my team members requested a call. All right, I have returned. So, name, are you still here? That's weird. Okay. Store item. Okay, that's the one that I want. There we go. Let's see, I'll go ahead and do an and a boolean. And I want does not equal equipped. Does not equal obviously owned. I don't know why that it's kind of weird that that shows up, but so let me see. It's getting the data, finding the item state. So it's almost never going to be owned or equipped from there. Oh wait, never mind. It could be from. That's kind of weird because it would never be owned. Oh, the defaults are, okay. Oh, it could also be... So it's gonna deduce atom state. Is it possible for it to deduce nothing? Okay, so at worst it deduces not owned. Okay, I think this makes sense. I think that should just be that. And I think this one should be that. Or that. This is also really hard to test because Steam doesn't really work in our version of the editor because we did something to disable it, and the person that did that isn't on the team anymore, so I kind of just deal with it. Don't think this is going to work. No. Cool. It kind of did, actually. Except... Okay, so it can't check Steam for my owned items, so that I'm okay with. What's going on? I was working on fixing a bug with our item store where when you open it, it would show the items you don't own, but it would also show like the stuff you didn't own, and like and I think I fixed it. It's hard to know because this is like through Steam, so I won't really know until I do like a patch. But it was broken in here, so I think that's fixed. So let me look at my sticky note list of what I wanted to do tonight. It's in early access. And also we coordinate events on our Discord. We do like a weekly playtest every Wednesday at 10 p.m. And it's a lot of fun. What I've been doing is if you show up to the Discord around test time, I've been giving out keys to get our test numbers up, just because our game modes end up much better, and our tests end up much better when there's more people. We don't have to rely on AI as much, but so we're kind of right in between that. I think we have less than a year to go. We should be able to get it out in early 2021. It's looking like there's certain things that we struggled to develop that we're kind of figuring out now, and we're kind of finding some secret sauce is a term that gets thrown around a lot, and I feel pretty good about that stuff. I've actually never used Unity. Every studio I've worked for used Unreal, and I learned Unreal in college, so I've been an Unreal guy like for the last like 12 years. So I'm gonna go to my test map now and see if I can get. Let me show you what I want to do. So you saw that gameplay alert that was here and then it moved to the side. I have a queue system that kind of adds them to the screen, and so they can't overlap, but occasionally there'll be so many of them that they do. So I want to there's a thing, a stackable wrapper in the UI thing called a vertical box that you can just add stuff to, and it'll just put it perfectly in line. But adding to one dynamically is a little challenging the way that I have it set up. It really is. A change I made this week was I'll open up what our newest map is. We kind of have two sides of the spectrum in our game. We have levels that kind of represent death and destruction and disease, and then we have maps that represent like life and beauty. And this is our newest map that we released back in April. This is our antagonist's home village, the Yamai clan. We just changed to temporal anti-aliasing. Like, I did that last night just to kind of get a feel. I wanted a little bit smoother foliage, but they've really improved it over the years too. It's such a fun engine to work in for visuals. I would say, I mean, there's so many tutorials and stuff out there. It's a pretty easy engine to learn. Temporal AA is the default. Um, we actually didn't use it for years because I'll show you why we didn't use it for years. I'm not sure how obvious it'll be or not. So this is no anti-aliasing right now. We used effects AA for years, and a lot of it was because we used to use a post-process black outline on everything, which I actually kind of miss because we're supposed to be a stylized game. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, you look like a last-gen throwback game." Like, no, we're a stylized game that lost the outline because it was causing a lot of problems, and we wanted the players to have outlines. This is temporal, and then I was doing a post-process, a slight sharpen, but I mean you can really like sharpen, like Photoshop sharpen. I'm actually fine with just like a very slight, but it really, originally what would happen is if you had low contrast, it would oscillate, so like characters would look really weird and have like a weird like after image motion blur thing. Our team size right now is 7, but we've been as big as 16 before. That was very brief, but we've done it. So let's take a look at... Oh yeah, you're right. There's a lot of foliage in our game. It's a very outdoor map game, so the grass and trees get really jagged looking and very crisp in a bad way. The aliasing gives it almost a stylized like softness that I really like. I kind of switched to it on a whim and was like, ooh, this version of Unreal, it's not so crappy anymore. I think I'm just going to leave this in. I've been playing a ton of Ghost of Tsushima, which is like the samurai game I've waited for since I was a kid, like probably 15 years ago. And it's says the guy that's been making a samurai game for 10 of those years. So there's little things that I really like um, about that game that's pretty inspiring to me. What a freaking masterpiece that game is, though. So let's go ahead and open up. What the heck just happened? I might have crashed my editor. Nope, there we go. Don't need that stuff anymore. Oh yeah, duh, I was gonna do a whole different thing. I tend to bounce around a lot, and I wear a lot of hats on this team, so I'll do like UI for 30 minutes, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to fix some 3D visual bug in some map, and then I'll bounce back to a whole different menu, kind of as it pops into my brain. Not the best way to work maybe, but it works for me. I never got into CSGO, and I probably started playing Counter-Strike around like 1.2 or 1.3, and then like original CS Source, and I loved it. I'm surprised I never like really got into the new ones. Oh yeah, so let's go into gameplay alert. So I have it, how I have them set up is they're essentially full screen widgets. And what happens is it starts in the middle, and then I have a UI animation that shifts it. So when it gets to here, I want a box that it can go in where they can stack. The problem is because it's full screen, I can't make a box the right shape to fit them. So I had an idea pop into my head that might work, and I'm gonna try it now. It probably won't work, but it might. So here's our HUD. And I'm going to add a vertical box. It's still really weird to me that it has anchors. I'm just going to make it fill the screen. 1080 00, just fill the screen. Now what happens if I add gameplay alerts to it? Does my idea work? Okay, that's something. There's way too much space in between them, but it's close. We're still signed with Sony and Microsoft to do console. The biggest drawback is that all of our back end and platform is done through Steam API. That doesn't work on console, so we would have to get a third party and like redo all of our achievements and server architecture, like leaderboards, player connections, player sessions, like all that is through Steam. And we don't have anyone experienced with that kind of stuff, so we have to wait till PC's done and reanalyze. And with PS5 and the Series X coming out, I think you're automatically under contract to do those too if you want to. But it's something that we're going to have to look into. I don't think it's something that we can do with the zero budget that we have now. But if PC does well enough, can pull in a couple $100,000, then we can get console taken care of. I think we could do console in like 6 months, personally. But because the game performs extreme, I know the game will perform well on a base Xbox and a base PS4. I've been slowly adding controller support to all of our menus, so it just goes onto console and the gameplay side's ready to go. this UI widget editor is my favorite thing, and one of my favorite things in UE4. Like, I basically had to teach myself. I'm not a UI developer. I'm an environment artist by trade, professionally, turned level designer, turned tech artist. So UI is something I self-learned for this project, and this editor is just so great. It's really easy to reorganize stuff and put stuff in grids, and I really like it a lot. So I'm trying to figure out, can I get this to just like shrink wrap down basically. This is way closer to what I was thinking before. It's very close. Let me see if there's really no reason for it to be. Is it just because of that anchor gap? What if the anchor gap just moves to right there? Ooh, there we go. It's 1:10 a.m. now. I'll be on till probably 2. I was thinking about going to play some Ghost of Tsushima, but I'm kind of getting into this now. Oh my god, it's crazy. It's really difficult, and I think it's because so let me see. The hard part is I don't know if like all I've been doing the last 2 weeks is like we have all of our game modes, and I feel like so there's like 3 layers of game design at play. It's like you have your gameplay mechanic. You create the presentation for that. You create the rule set for how it works. Then you create the feedback for doing the mechanic right. And when that comes to game modes have so much more UX than I ever dreamed of. It's like you set the rules, and because you write the rules when you play test, you already know what to do. Okay, well, I got to capture the point, or I got to get the scroll, or I got to kill the special dude, or whatever. And like teaching people that have never played your game before what they should be doing and when is so freaking difficult. So all of our stuff has been like for example, in this test map, let's say 2 weeks ago, the scroll icons in like the up here, didn't exist. It was like this little circle health bar that didn't tie to anything. There wasn't an icon on the scroll that says home. These beams from far away that disappear when you run close weren't here. There was like no way for you to even know that you need to capture the scroll unless you just were lucky. And like it telling you that it's been captured, or to capture it, if you're another player, it says like escort. If I die, it says, actually I think it's broken right now. I just found a bug. It's supposed to say dropped and have a timer that respawns it, but that wasn't working. Oh, that's why it wasn't working. I was on a listen server that doesn't actually do anything. Or we don't use listen servers anywhere in our game. There we go. It says dropped and when it's respawning. Like, it'd be crazy. I remember for like 5 years, everyone was always like, I don't. Everyone was always like, I don't know when I hit somebody, and we'd be like 8 things happen. There's blood. The dude plays an animation. There's a sound. Like there's a slash effect. There's a camera animation. There's all these things, and what it came down to is we just needed to add damage numbers. That was it. As soon as we added damage numbers, never heard it again. I hate it. I don't like damage numbers, but players love them, so sometimes you do stuff that you hate because you know your players expect it. And like, we did so many things to try to like do it with the art. I don't like heavy UI, and like it's funny I say that because our game has a lot of it. Okay. So I'm going to try something here. So what I'm gonna do, does gameplay alert have any semblance of parent? It does not. It would be ideal if it did. Yeah, like for example, I think in general, like our HUD is pretty big and clunky. Like I feel like most of this information could all be condensed into like bottom left corner. And I think we'll end up doing that. Yeah, the blueprint system has a few different manifestations. Some of it is, this is the UI version of it, but it's pretty much the same. Um, it just has a lot of UI specific functionality in it. I'm not the cleanest blueprinter or most organized. I'm a get it work fast type of guy for a lot of this stuff. Occasionally I'll take the time to make a very clean, sexy blueprint. I don't want to end up on the Blueprints from Hell website. So what I want to do is I'm going to add, so the gameplay alert queue is in BP HUD. And this is calling the... No, I primarily use 3D Max, ZBrush, and Substance Painter. How do I want to do this? I suppose I can just do that. Let me try. So get main widget, which is a variable I created that is an object of this WB HUD. That, if you remember, I created a vertical box called gameplay alert box. I'm gonna check that it's valid because you get no pointers if something's invalid a lot of the time. Gonna get gameplay alert box, add child to vertical box, content is going to be self, vertical slot, and then I want to set horizontal alignment. Which was gameplay alert. Can I just use the defaults? Yeah, I can use the defaults more or less. It needs a little bit of padding. Set padding, I'm going to split this struct just because it really just needs some top padding. And then what I'm going to do I'll add a breakpoint here just to see what happens. Just to see if that functionality even fires. So I'm going to get an alert here pretty quickly. There we go. Breakpoint hit, and I can't get to it because it's part of my other thing. Let me see if I can get this in a spot where I can do both. It's really hard to stream when I'm used to working on like 3 monitors. Okay. There's that. Okay, there's the next frame. All right. Oh. Hold on. is just, it's getting worse all the time. It just keeps repeating. Well, that's not what I thought was going to happen. Maybe I can move this to shift widget. Does this get used? Okay, so that's destroyed. Oh, that's the alert duration. On animation finished. It still performs really expensive. Like the rendering cost of landscape is almost always going to be the highest 3D object in your scene. But you can do some, I mean, really a huge majority of our maps are mostly like dressed up landscapes. Like I'm painting a lot of grass, putting a lot of objects, the foliage system and all of that. Like it's still, you know, play space where players are running is still primarily landscape. I just don't think Unity is very artist friendly. Like I tried to tutor some students that were using Unity and I was like, wait, so how the hell do you make shaders? Like where the hell is this tool? Where is that tool? And like it just doesn't, I don't really like Unreal makes just making everything so easy. You know, where Unity has an advantage is you can, you know, code in multiple languages and have one, you know, one distributable binary. But still. Let's see what happens. So that's over there. Does it ever get added to a vertical box? No? Okay, so it fades before it even gets added. So I did have it in the right place, but it's kind of weird that... Let me try something then. So if this is here, it's been added to the vertical box. I'm going to store this. Gameplay vertical box. Because I think oh, it should already work then, because this should get called. Oh, it's C sharp. I mean, a lot of most game. I mean, game engines are like half C sharp. The one thing I will say about Unreal is it's an everything is on by default kind of engine. Like, it's a very expensive engine performance wise out of the box. Like, you're gonna run you might start with a 9 millisecond game thread with nothing happening. It's really easy to overload Unreal. Like, I work with a lot of publishing projects at my job as a technical artist, primarily in charge of performance, and it it's surprising it's how much Unreal experience, especially on the engineering side, is needed to manage like CPU and GPU and UE4. It's a very expensive engine. If you know how to make things right and it's built into your habits, then it's not that hard. But there's a lot of stuff in the background that you can turn off that you don't even realize is just sitting there eating resources for no reason. See if this works. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like 9 milliseconds, like, you know, it's. All right, Unreal does not like that, so I don't think. Don't think the way I was doing this is going to work. Oh no, it's no problem. It actually questions in an active chat actually makes me work better, and I appreciate it actually. When there's no point to stream if like it's a completely lurking chat, it bores me to death. Happy to share experience and knowledge for sure. Yeah, the profile. I use for GPU. I honestly like to profile on Xbox the most. Like the picks that Xbox uses is like the best profiler ever. I think DX12 has it for Windows. I mean, you can do stuff like there's some basic ones that kind of tell you your scene breakdown, organized into like all the rendering passes and stuff. The CPU one I actually really like. I probably have a profile sitting around somewhere. Yep, I do. So you can record like CPU data over time, and you can like pick spikes, and it gives you all of your threads. So I can go into like render thread, and look at like, oh, lighting, my directional light, which is my sunlight, shadows are 6 milliseconds on my draw thread. Okay, maybe I need to optimize that. Game thread, I'm like, okay, I have a 26 millisecond spike on slate, which is UI. Something in my UI is messed up. I'm ticking, I have 529 widget ticks. Okay, I need to clean that up. This is like an older profile, but I am doing a lot in tick because Unreal has like an event delegate system where you can say, hey, in the game mode, when the enemy, when team points, like call this event whenever team points goes off, and then you do UI changes based on that. I didn't know that when like the first half of the UI was made, so like I'm just doing a lot of stuff on tick events, which is really bad practice. So yeah, it tells you like replicated movement, taking hits. I can go into all the different rendering groups and look at like, okay, moving bots is really expensive. There's a lot of overlaps. Okay, why did the and it tells you like, okay, it's the ninja bot. Why is the ninja bot so expensive? And I can kind of just keep drilling down the call stack, and usually I can find like exact functions that are problematic and then optimize. I love this tool. I actually task out engineers what code they need to optimize from this tool all the time. So like at this point, I see NinjaBot coming up a bunch of times, so I would go look into the NinjaBot and see like, okay, he has wasteful overlaps. I need to change his collision to be like, well, he doesn't need to overlap with every channel every frame, and make changes there. But yeah, it's a great tool. So since that experiment failed, I'm gonna look at oh, I already have one of the circular fill. That's awesome. Okay, now that I know I can do that, I don't even, that's super easy. I'm doing that now. So these ritual sites, this was a thing that we were talking about. We had done a publishing review. A publisher played our game with like 20 of their employees, and gave us a bunch of feedback. And one of those is, the game modes are pretty simple. They're classic game modes. Really, they're even more classic than they were before the publishing review. We had some unique modes, but they weren't messaged well. And one of the things we came up with was, or they suggested was, you guys are a Japanese game, embrace that theme, put more theme into the game. We love how meditation changes the colors of the world and has like its own like little music, these little chimes and stuff. Do more of that. So we came up with this ritual system where these are like side objectives that are in every map, and they're kind of relevant to the game mode. And they don't pop up right away, but when you, in this test map they do, but it tells you like, okay, it's a curse, abilities disabled for 30 seconds. So if you meditate and you get the curse, it'll make the enemy team loses all of their abilities. For 30 seconds, and really in an objective-based match, that abilities are really powerful. You know, it's like MOBA style active abilities. Stats and movement changes, so they're like that's a pretty big debuff, and there's other buffs too. So I've been working on that, and one of the things was, hey, we have a generic progress bar, why can't we just have like a cool thing like fill up around the icon? So I'm gonna do that now. But also I was just reminded of something else to make sure I didn't break these guys. Or I guess it would be Castle Raid. Nope, not the right map. Wrong one. So we used to have a VIP mode where you just had like one player on each team would play as like a enemy, like boss basically. You had all the abilities for that class, and you were like super crazy strong, and it just never felt that fun. So we kind of turned into a linear objective like Castle Raid mode, where you're trying to work your way into the castle and there's kind of capture points along the way. It's really fairly similar like Overwatch in a lot of ways, and that is what I was scared of. Okay. A lot of our abilities have crowd control built in. So we have knockdown, knockback, stunned, bleeding, poisoned. I think that's all of them. And they're really good for initiating fights or ending fights. And you kind of mix them in with your basic attacks, because you have a light stance and a heavy stance, and those are multi-directional. So you have like 6 or 7 attacks per stance. So figured this was gonna break here. I might just make it by 500. Let's scale that to like 0.1. And then you're kind of leveling towards like basically an ultimate, and the ultimates are very, very strong. I need to play with this. I might. Oh, it's gigantic. Can I tweak? Well, let me tweak this real time. Or is it going to crash? Nope, forgot that it crashes when I try to do that. Well, fixed one bug, introduced a couple more. You know, I think it's broken too many things. I need to do revert. I'm gonna call this timing ritual large, because it just broke in too many places. Nah, I already submitted that. Well, actually, that works perfect, because that now I can, oops. Give me just a second, I need to do something. I gotta close out really fast, sorry guys. I had to roll back a file to an old version. Oh, awesome. That is greatly appreciated. I'm hoping to really expand the item store soon. I wish I streamed it because it would have been really cool. The hardest thing I've ever done in UI was make our store and loadout system, and I was adding the helmet category. And getting that ready to just add more items, because while we're in early access I don't want to get too microtransaction heavy, but I do want to have some content there for people and everyone. You know, playing Ghost of Tsushima, even though it's a single player story game, I spent so much time trying to farm like armor and find merchants with armor dyes that I'm kind of like, yeah, customization's important, probably even more so in a multiplayer game. So this needs to be timer ritual large. And now that's right. And now I just need to make sure that that there's no broken classes, because I'm referencing this thing like crazy. There it is. Coming through these references. I changed the class of this, so. I mean, really, what I did is, I don't know if you're a programmer or not, I just made a struct that's basically like all the slots, helmet, mask, weapon, etc. And I have Unreal has data tables that are basically like, here's all the items, here's the name and the icon, and I made there's a data asset type that basically is based on a struct. So I made, an item is basically like all of the slots combined. So an item could be a full loadout, an item could be just a weapon skin, it could be a bundle of a bunch of things, all with their own item IDs. And I basically just iterate through each, and if it has an ID, I'm saving it using the save game system, and then I'm basically grabbing the references to the meshes, and when you spawn, it just swaps them. Or if it's a helmet, it loads the helmet and sockets it to like a locator. You can put sockets on any bone you want, and just like hard socket stuff places. So helmets are an easy thing to just be like, hey, hat socket, go there, done. It's pretty nice. I'm surprised by how little I'm casting in here. I guess I'm doing a lot of the functionality in the actual widget. I learned something new about Unreal every single day. A struct is basically just a container of variables. So like, oh yeah, the first time I open the editor, it stops play from here really quickly. So if I break a struct, basically that exposes all of the variables that make it up. So it's just it's a data container almost. So for a loadout item, basically it's and the way Unreal works is you make a struct, and that's essentially your column headers for a data table, and then each entry is its own struct. So then when you can get a row by name or by number, you get that whole struct's worth of data. It's really nice information architecture. It's our whole ability system and all of that is completely custom versions of using data tables. Like I mentioned, we have status effects. You know, it's just a struct. It's like, hey, does it stun? Does it knock down? What does it do? What forces the knockback? What stats get changed when this is applied to you? And like our whole curse system's built out of this too. What effect gets added to you when the status effect's on you? This is all like 100% custom that we made. So what I want to try really quick, our gameplay programmer worked on our ability system for a long time. Oops, I left some tests in accidentally. But that's, you know, that's, you guys see kind of how long some simple stuff can take. So I'm going to wrap this with a border. I'm going to set the border to use the circular. Oops. Sometimes Unreal clicks a new asset. There we go. Was it circular bar? Oh, no, it was progress circle. So I'm gonna try. It's extremely modular. Because our skill tree, basically you just populate a list of what the row names are for like a skill. We have a hierarchy that's like skill, ability, which is made up of like you have charges, combos, buffs, like active, press a key to buff, like that kind of stuff. Ground targets that have like the inputs different. You like press hold and move the target, let go, and then it fires like fire arrows or whatever. Need to open this material just to see if when I change alpha to 1 what it actually looks like. Okay, so it's not, I need content padding. What is, that's a weird artifact. She looks like way more. Okay, it's close. Okay. Now, question number 2, can I change the cut? Oops, that's not what I wanted. I can. Yeah, every Wednesday at 10. We've been doing that for probably like 4 years. Make sure you join our Discord. Did I do that right? Yeah, there's the link. Let me see it. Let me see how that looks just to get a... Oh, that's not bad at all. So I don't even really need a progress bar. I'm just gonna... Right, for now, I'm just gonna collapse that. Okay. So I think... Why is the progress bar still there? Maybe it's an in-game thing. There we go. I'm gonna make a... Okay, so now what I need to do is, let me see, get HUD percentage fill. Instead of set percent, I need to get, the border needs to be a variable, border progress bar. Yep, I'm in the same boat. I'll be getting up for work in about 7 hours. I try to cut off at 2 a.m., but I'm really close to being done with this, so once I get that done, I'll probably be good. Thanks a lot. Thanks for hanging out. Good to meet you, and excited to see a fresh face in the test tomorrow. If you have any friends that want to play, just send me a DM on Discord, and I'll throw another key your way for picking up the game and trying it out. See if this works. If it does, it's first try, which I get a lot of first tries right before 2 a.m. So let's see how it went. Yeah, worked. I wonder if I can. Oh yeah, that's pretty nice. Oh, damn it, I keep doing that. Well, that wasn't too bad. All right, I am going to call it an evening, everybody. Thanks for